It's an auspicious welcome to all the aspirants here in this presentation on multiple choice questions in drama. My dear friends, we studied three different sections of drama up to this time. I taught you the basic principles and elements and important dramas in English. In the second phase of our study, we studied the important modern and postmodern dramas in English. After that, we studied Indian drama in English. So after these three lectures, today we are going to study multiple choice questions based on the drama which have been asked in the examination and which are important for the sake of NET examination. So this is our last lecture. I taught you 4 different modules. We talk about fiction and novel. We talk about research, the principles of research, how to make the proposal for MPhil and PhD. After that, we studied language also, the basic and the important features of language, the questions asked on the language. We also talk about the theory of communication. And after that, we gradually incline towards the study drama. So this is our last lecture. In the very beginning, I express my thankful gratitude towards all the respected dignitaries in BARTI who avail me this opportunity to interact with you here on a YouTube online mode. Thank you very much. My special thanks to my dear friend, Advocate Rajiv Gandhi, for availing me this opportunity for this platform, and all dear students. You are always with me. You have my email ID and mobile number for personal interaction if you feel any query afterwards. I will be always with you in your struggle for quality. We expect miraculous results from you, and with this hope in the mind, let us initiate this presentation on multiple choice questions in drama. The very first slide, the very first question. Conflict is the feature of what exactly? 4 different options will be there in the question paper. The first will be poem, second story, third drama, and the fourth novel. So conflict is the feature of drama especially. We studied this when we studied the basics of drama. The next question here in the series is, when was the Globe Theatre built? This Globe Theatre is located in England. The capital of London especially was built in the year 1598, where most of the prominent dramas have been performed. So this is the recent theatre. We have to note one thing here, that the very first theatre was established by William Shakespeare for the very first time. The beginning and the entrance, the exit, this concept is of William Shakespeare originally. So Globe Theatre built in 1598. The next question here in this series is T.S. Eliot's play Murder in the Cathedral imbibes the convention of which drama especially? Greek, Roman, Italian, and Indian. The options are very close, very near. We have to study all those options very carefully in the examination. And the answer has been dark here. It is Greek drama. Murder in the Cathedral is a poetic drama of T.S. Eliot published in 1935. So, in the drama section, we studied this, that the 4 tempests, they warn the bishop, but finally he was massacred and they justify his killing to the audience. So this is the conflict between kingship and the religious power, which has been very beautifully presented in Murder in the Cathedral by T.S. Eliot. I request you to study this drama because this is important drama for the sake of examination. Let us turn towards the next slide here in the series. is the name Bertolt Brecht is associated with what exactly? Absurd theater, epic theater, comedy of humors, and feminist theater. So the answer has been pointed here. B option, the epic theater. The name Bertolt Brecht is associated with the epic theater. So now it becomes a moral duty to go in detail and to search what the concept epic theater stands for especially, and we have to study all these things associated with it in detail. So the next question here in the series, who wrote Spanish tragedy? And the answer is Thomas Kidd. It is not Thomas Norton, Thomas Sackville, and none of these. The answer is Thomas Kidd, who wrote Spanish tragedy. Now, we have to by heart certain things here. The name of the dramatist and the name of the drama, the publication, and the major characters, the minor characters, the theme especially presented in the drama. We have to cheer up all these things from the objective point of view, from the in the examination. So I humbly request you not to study means elaborate things, descriptive things. Our focus should be very objective because our exam pattern is objective. The next question here, in Greek drama, the hero is called, the protagonist, a foil, a confidant, and none of these. So we know quite well that the hero most probably called the central character the protagonist in the drama. So is protagonist, the central character, the main hero. Next question, character that occur repeatedly in comedies are called what exactly? So we studied before this two types of characters, flat character and round character. Flat characters are those characters who do not change their nature in the course of narration. And round character, they change their nature, they change their behavior, they mold according to the situation, they adjust themselves. So this is the third type of character, remember friends. Character that occur repeatedly in comedy, they are stock characters. This is a new term. So how many characters are there? What are the types? The examples of the stock character as a matter of investigation. So go in detail for that. These presentations and these lectures are merely samples. We are always with you, as I told you in the very beginning, in your struggle for quality. Search everything in detail, but your study, your focus should be from objective point of view alone. The next question here, who is the author of the book Poetics? Now this book Poetics is written by the great scholar Aristotle. There are 26 chapters in Aristotle's Poetics. Aristotle defined tragedy as well tragic hero in Poetics. While defining tragedy, Aristotle says the imitation of an action, serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude in language, beautified in different parts with different kinds of embellishment, through action and not narration, and through sense of pity and fear, bringing about the catharsis of these or such like emotions, is the definition of tragedy given by Aristotle in his best book, Poetics. So, my dear friends, this book is very much important for the sake of examination. Please see this book. Study all the principles. What is hamartia given here in this book? What is catharsis? The second definition is of ideal tragic hero given by Aristotle in Poetics. He says, an ideal tragic hero must be an intermediate kind of person, a man not preeminently virtuous and just, whose misfortune, however, is brought upon a wise, not by depravity, but by some error of judgment. Okay, so it is, we have to recite, study all the definitions given in Poetics. Our concept should be very clear. The next question is of Samuel Beckett. Samuel Beckett is the recipient of the Nobel Prize in 1969, and he is closely associated with the theater of absurd in literature. Now, this term was coined by Martin Slin, theater of absurd, and we have to study all the tenets and the principles associated with the theater of absurd. So Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot has how many acts? 3, 5, 4, 2. So the answer is 2 acts. So now, in which year this Waiting for Godot published? What are the major characters? What is the theme? We have to search it. Request you to go for it. The very next question here. James Joyce's Exile is what? Short story, poem, play, or novel? The answer is a play. It is not short story. We studied short story before this. We haven't thrown a flood of light on poems. You know, I don't taught you this. And the novel, we studied it in fiction. The next question here in this series, here we have some of the tragedy plays written by William Shakespeare. As I told you that William Shakespeare is widely known as the father of drama. Kalidasa is known as Indian Shakespeare. Shakespeare's death anniversary, 23rd of April, has been celebrated as an International Book Day all over the world. He was born in 1564 and passed away from this world in 1616. So he wrote 37 dramas in all. So we have to put the selected dramas here in the order is the question. So what are the options? Romeo and Juliet, Othello, Hamlet, and King Lear. So see, I told you Romeo and Juliet was published in approximately 1597. After that, Othello, Hamlet, and King Lear. We discussed the theme of almost all the dramas of William Shakespeare, and Romeo and Juliet is the most lamentable drama ever written in the history of English literature. We studied the two antagonistic families, the Capulets and the Montagues, here in the drama Romeo and Juliet. They died finally at the end of the drama, leaving their relatives mourn for them forever. So we have to study the year of publication to put the chronological sequence in a correct order, and most of the time to maintain the standard of the examination. You know, chronology has been asked in the examination, so we have to study, learn and recite all the years of publications also here. The next question here in this series. Nora is a famous character of Henrik Ibsen's which drama? An Enemy of the People, The Ghost, The Wild Duck, and A Doll's House. The answer is A Doll's House. You know, A Doll's House, Nora is the central character. And Nora's sufferings, her longings, has been presented very beautifully by Henrik Ibsen, the Norwegian playwright in the drama. And this is feminist work from that point of view. I have taught you about Enemy of the People. You know, there was tussle between two brothers. The conflict between two forces, good force and the bad force in the life. And you know, we have to cheer up the options also for the sake of understanding. So Doll's House, Nora appears. There are total how number of plays did William Shakespeare write in all? So the answer is obvious here, 37, as I told you in the very beginning. Shakespeare is widely known as the father of drama. He was in Elizabethan's age, belongs to Elizabethan's age. He wrote 154 sonnets. And one of the sonnet, William Shakespeare says, "Oh, none unless this miracle have might, that in black ink my love may still shine brightly," he says. So most of the sonnets, he addressed his friend Earl of Southampton and his beloved Mary Featon. Most probably he addressed her as Dark Lady in the novels. So in all, William Shakespeare wrote 37 dramas. Which was the last play written by William Shakespeare is the question here. And the options are Cymbeline, The Winter's Tale, The Tempest, and Pericles. So the third option, C option, is the correct one. The Tempest is the answer, is the last play written by William Shakespeare. Shakespeare passed away from this world on 23rd of April, 1616. And after that, Shakespeare's work published, 37 dramas in all. You can see the theme in Marathi also as well. Here, the next question here in the series. Sweet are the uses of adversity. This line is related to which play? So, these are what we say adverbial statement here. The most important statement appears from Merchant of Venice or Romeo and Juliet, 12th Night, and As You Like It. And the answer is As You Like It. One of the select comedies written by William Shakespeare, Sweet are the uses of adversity, has become proverbial statement in English literature. So the next question here in this series. Shakespeare says frailty, the name is woman. So this line is a part of which play? Othello, Macbeth, King Lear, and Hamlet. So the line appears in the drama entitled Hamlet. Hamlet. In Hamlet, William Shakespeare says this frailty means uncertainty, wavering faith. Your name is woman. See the next question here in the series. Cowards die many times before death. The valiant never taste of death, but only once in the life. These lines are taken from which of the following play is the question here? 4 options: Macbeth, Othello, Antony and Cleopatra, and Julius Caesar. And the answer is Julius Caesar. I told you when I taught this to you how the term Caesaring appeared in the world, how Julius Caesar was tapped, and Julius Caesar uttered, Brutus, you too. These are the universal lines which become immortal in English literature. Coward die many times before their death, valiant test death, but only once. Lines are appealing and universal and quite suggestive and meaningful, quite symbolic. The next question. Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So these are also proverbial lines, quite appealing and universal in English literature. These lines are taken from which of the following play is the question? King Lear, Hamlet, Othello, or Macbeth? So the answer is Macbeth. Macbeth belongs to the Moor caste. And he, along with Lady Macbeth, they massacre the king. And Macbeth become the king to save his kingship. He massacred his friends and become a merciless and cruel king. And finally, he was killed by Macbeth. So this is the story of the tragedy of Macbeth. Life is in fact a tale, a story told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. The hollowness and emptiness of the human life has been pinpointed by William Shakespeare here in these lines. See the next question here in this series. In which play does David Roberts appear as a leading character? So, the David Roberts appear in John Galsworthy's play The Strife. D option is the correct one. It is not the pigeon, the figatives, and the silver box. It is the answer is the strife. In fact, this is strike. The conflict between industrialists and the conflict of the common people, common workers have been presented here very beautifully by John Galsworthy. So strife, David Roberts appears as a leading character. The next question here in the series. In which play is John Barthwick a leading character? Is it the pigeon, the silver box, the strife, and the eldest son? The answer is the silver box, written by John Galsworthy. Now see the theme, see the characters, study it in brief for the sake of exam and for the sake of understanding. The next question here in the series. The central idea, theme of strife means the strike, written by John Galsworthy, is what? conflict between literate and illiterate, conflict between rich and poor, conflict between different religious sects. Is it conflict between labor and capital? As I told you in the very beginning, that there is conflict between a simple workers and capital, that means industrial forces. So the fourth option, D option, is correct here. This is the central theme. We have to see the central theme and the gist of the dramas for the study. The next question here in this series: who wrote Natya Shastra, a treatise of the theatre, was written by whom? And the answer is Bharata Muni. I told you the rasa theory is associated with Bharat Muni, and almost all the principles of the dance are very beautifully presented when we enact the dance there on the stage. How to perform it, the various Anguli mudras and various bhava and rasa have been discussed very beautifully by Bharata Muni in Natya Shastra. So Natya Shastra is a scientific and what we can say a technical book written for the very first time in ancient India, very beautifully by Bharat Muni. Let's proceed further. I request you to learn by heart this question. This question has been asked many times in the examination. Which of the following is the most ancient classical Sanskrit play written by Ashwaghosh? Now, the very first option is correct here. Sariputra Prakaran is the answer of this. Okay, so these are all ancient writings. Next question. Who wrote Abhigyana Shakuntalam? I taught you in my previous lecture, it is not Valmiki, Vyas or Shudraka. It is written by Mahakavi Kalidas. When King Vikramaditya was ruling over in India at the time, Mahakavi Kalidas, having the blessings of the great deity Kali, he wrote Abhigyana Shakuntalam, the beautiful love story of King Dushyant and Shakuntala, their separation and finally their reunion. We can say this at Indian tragicomedy. The next question. Which of the following is not written by Mahakavi Kalidas? Malavika Angamitram, Vikrama Urvashi, Meghaduta, Mritchikatakam. So almost A, B, C are written by Mahakavi Kalidas, but Mritchikatakam is written by Shudrak and not by Kalidas. So we have to study the options first. I request you to solve, if possible, almost all the question papers of NET and SET examination to be more familiar with the pattern so that we can crack it within the limited time. So who is the hero of Abhigyana Shakuntalam? I told you, he is none other than the B option, King Dushyanta. King Dushyanta, who came there in the forest for hunting purpose. He asked water from Shakuntala. When she was offering water to King Dushyanta, he falls in love with her, and it was most probably the love at first sight. Shakuntala was reciting in the ashram of the great sage Muni Kanva, and then Dushyanta marries with her. That was Gandharva Vivaha, a form of love marriage, and then he offers a ring to her and disappears from the scene. He forgets her, and at the end of the drama, once again they united, and the culmination of the story is sweet. Now the next question is, Rasa theory is of whom exactly? Is it Mahakavi Kalidas, Bharata Muni, Panini, or Sage Patanjali? The answer is quite obvious, Bharata Muni. Bharata Muni is the writer of the great book Natya Shastra, and this Rasa theory means Srungara Ras, Bibhatsa, Hasya, Raudra, Karuna, 9 ras. They reflect and appear in Bharata Muni's Natya Shastra. So don't forget this. Let's proceed further, my dear friends. Pygmalion, the great play written by whom? He is none other than the BBC scholar who is the recipient of the Nobel Prize in 1925 for his superb contribution in literature. George Bernard Shaw wrote Pygmalion, in which G.B. Shaw's play, the chocolate cream hero appear. Arms of the Man, St. John, Man and Superman, and Candida. And the answer has been highlighted here, Arms and the Man. And this play of George Bernard Shaw, the chocolate cream hero appears. So, this is the answer. Let's proceed further, my dear friends, without wasting the time. What is the central theme of the play, The Apple Cart? Now we discuss Apple Cart. Apple Cart was published in 1929, written by George Bernard Shaw. To upset apple cart means to upset or frustrate someone else's carefully organized wicked plan. Okay. So Apple Cart discusses the working of democracy. So what is democracy? Demo means people and cracy means the rule, where people rule is a democracy. Here there is a tussle between King Magnus and his Prime Minister Joseph Proteus. And Joseph Proteus desires that King Magnus should function as a rubber stamp merely. But unfortunately, King Magnus was not ready for the same. So there was conflict. And this is the functioning of democracy, which is bestly presented in G.B. Shaw's present play entitled The Apple Cart. I told you the dialogue of King Magnus and Orinthia. Do not let us fall into the common consideration of expecting to become one flesh and one spirit. Every star has its own orbit, and between it and its nearest neighbor there is not only path of attraction but also an infinite distance. When the attraction becomes stronger than the distance, they two do not come together, they crash and ruin. In the same way, we must keep an infinite distance between us to avoid the disastrous collision. Because keeping the distance is the whole secret of good manners. And without good manners, human society is completely intolerable and impossible. Remember this verse on King Magnus. He is the spokesperson of George Bernard Shaw, anti-romantic dramatist, especially famous for writing drama of ideas and literature. Let's proceed further. The principal theme of St. John is religion and faith, aesthetics, martyrdom, reason versus religion. And the first option is correct. Religion and faith is the principal theme of St. John. At the time, the wavering faith in religion has been presented most of the writers. And St. John reflects the same. The next question here in the series, what is the basic theme of Pygmalion? The answer has been given. This is phonetics and pronunciation. When we study linguistics, phonetics, pronunciation, after that morphology, the lexical studies, semantics are the different segments that we study under linguistics. What is phonetics? It is a systematic and scientific study of the sound pattern in English. And it helps us how to pronounce English in a correct way, especially RP, received pronunciation from the southern part of England. So Pygmalion creates awareness of phonetics and pronunciation among the readers. Next question here in the series. Arms and the Man is a satire on what? So Arms and Man is a satire on war and heroism. Most of the time, a very wrong presentation is there in the media regarding war. Though wars are important, peace is very much important than the war. So we have to understand this reality. And most of the writers, be it the novelists, the poets like Wilfred Owen, the dramatists, they focus on the theme that Peace is very much important in the life than war. War is not the ultimate solution. Arms and the Man is a beautiful masterpiece. This is the satire on war. This world has witnessed First World War, Second World War, and most of the people they talk the language of war, but war is not the ultimate solution. Peace hath its victories. No less renowned than war is the ultimate truth, which has been presented in Arms and the Man. The next question here in this series, the play, The Proposal, written by the famous Russian writer Anton Chekhov, is a one-act play. Natalia is there, Chubukov is there, Lomo is there. These are the characters. Another beautiful, the theme of marriage has been pinpointed and presented here in one-act play, The Proposals. The next question related to the same writer, Anton Chekhov, Russian, was a famous American playwright, Russian playwright, Indian, English. I told you, he is a Russian playwright, Anton Chekhov, and his play, one-act play, The Marriage Proposal, is quite popular in literature. Very beautiful presentation is there. So, see the next question. The Glass Menagerie is a modernist dramatic version of Lord Tennyson, The Lady of Shalott. So, Lady of Shalott is a beautiful poem. Who is the author of The Glass Menagerie? He is none other than Tennessee Williams. Tennessee Williams, A Streetcar Named Desire, is also quite popular in English literature. Remember, The Glass Menagerie and The Streetcar Named Desires are the two masterpieces written by the American writer Tennessee Williams. So study the other options. So Edgar Allan Poe, Eugene O'Neill, and Henry David Thoreau. H.G. Thoreau's Walden is quite popular in English literature. Next question in series. T.S. Eliot's poetic drama, The Cocktail Party, was published in which year? And the answer is 1964. Thomas Stearns Eliot, this poetic drama, The Cocktail Party, published in 1964. And T.S. Eliot received Nobel Prize in 1948 for his superb contribution in literature. See the next question here in the series. Waiting for Godot is probably the most famous of Thomas Beckett's plays. Which of these characters deserves appear in the play? A boy, Estragon, Lucky, or Nell? The answer is Nell. When the question arises, this character Nell appear in which novel? Charles Dickens' Old Curiosity Shop is the answer, where a little girl, Nell, appears. And at the time, most of the readers passionate for reading Charles Dickens, they were waiting for the novels on the deck, and they asked to the person who were on the ship, is Nell dead? So this character, Nell, became quite popular. But at the end, Charles Dickens made her dead finally, and so many people mourn on the death of Nell. What is the name of the game played in the play, The Birthday Party? Birthday Party, written by Harold Pinter. Hide and seek, cheese, truth or dare. This is blind man's buff is the correct answer. So the game played in the play, The Birthday Party, is blind man's buff. Remember this, has been discussed in that play. The next question here in this series. Look back in anger, Jimmy Potter is hero or anti-hero? The answer is anti-hero. Anti-hero. Look back in anger. Okay. Written by John Osborne. The kitchen sink drama is marked by what? Neorealism, domestic life, kitchen scenes, and pseudo-realism. The answer is domestic life. The kitchen sink drama is marked by domestic life here, means the life of the common person. What is the label which is linked with Samuel Beckett? Eugene Ionesco, the French writer, author Adamau and Ginginat. The theater of reward, theater of cruelty, theater of paradox, and theater of the absurd. It becomes a moral duty to study what is theater of absurd, what are the tenets and the principles of this. My dear friends, search in detail what is a theater of absurd and why it is called so. And study all the absurd writers so that your concept will be very clear in the examination. Let us proceed further. The work, The Myth of Sisyphus, is written by whom? Is it Jean-Paul Sartre, James Joyce, Samuel Beckett, or Albert Camus? And the answer is none other than the D option is correct one. Albert Camus is the writer of Myths of Sisyphus. The next question. What is the message in The Chairs, the drama written by Eugene Ionesco? Human struggle, failure of speech, meaningless of life, and absence of guest. 4 options. So the C option is correct. Meaninglessness of the life has been presented in The Chairs. And this is the feature of the postmodern life. The people are running behind material prosperity, behind science and technology. Most of the people think that this is the age of computers and robots. But we are losing the sanctity of life. And life is becoming meaningless for most of the people, which has been rightly presented in The Chairs. Who wrote the play End Game? The very first option is correct. Samuel Beckett is the writer of this. The next question. Ulmer Rice, The Adding Machine, which published in 1923, is categorized as which play exactly? Is it Impressionist, Imagist, or Expressionists? So the very first option is correct. Expressions. Next question here in the series. The main spokesperson of the modern women in Silence the Court is in Session, written by Vijay Tendulkar. Who is that woman? Who is the protagonist? And the B option is correct. She is Leela Benare, which has been discussed here. And up to some extent, this is a feminist work presented by Vijay Tendulkar, the best drama ever written in Marathi. Next question here in this series on the same. In Silence the Court is in Session, there is a mock trial where Leela Benare was accused of what? The C option is correct of this. The crime of infanticide. And the act has been sanctioned by the government in 2003 for the same. The problem has been focused in 1967 by Vijay Tendulkar in this drama, that there will be the problem of infanticide in future. And the same has been presented through Leela Benare here. Silence the Court is in Session, this drama, this work was originally written in which language is the question. And the option is Marathi language. It is written in Marathi especially, translated in English. So the next question. For which movie Girish Karnad, who is the recipient of the Gyanpith Award in 1998, won first President's Golden Lotus Award for Kannada cinema? Yayati, Tughlaq, Samskara and Hayavadana are the options. And the C option is correct. Samskara. So now, it is our duty to see all the works of Girish Karnad, why so popular and what is given in the dramas. I told you the story of Yayati Tughlaq in brief in my previous lecture. Let's proceed further. Tara, a play written by Mahesh Dattani, is what? This is 2-act play. Tara. And This play, Tara, is based on gender segregation. Male-female difference has been pinpointed here by Mahesh Dattani. Most of the time, as this is a male-dominant society, the female class has been treated inferior, has been neglected, has been treated subordinate by the people. So there is a continuous conflict, and Tara is the symbol of the same. Next question on the same drama. One of the major themes in Tara, which has been presented by Mahesh Dattani, is gender discrimination. Gender segregation has been presented. Man-woman difference has been presented. And most of the female writers, now it is our duty to search the feminist work. Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex, for example. Kate Millet's The Sexual Politics. Gender Trouble, written by Judith Butler. Now we have to search all those feminist writings to understand the term gender discrimination so that we can understand this work Tara as well. Next question. Who among the following English playwrights wrote screenplays or novels such as Marcel Proust, In Search of Lost Time, John Fowles, French Lieutenant's Woman, and Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale? The answer is Harold Pinter. And Harold Pinter is the writer who received Nobel Prize in 2006. Next question in the series. Samuel Beckett's trilogy, published together in London in 1959 under the English titles, is what exactly? So the B option is the correct option here. The options are very close, which creates confusion in the mind. The correct option is B, Molly, Melanites, and The Unnameable. Next question here in this series. Among the following playwrights, who was awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1920? The answer is Eugene O'Neill. The remaining options, Casey, William Somerset Maugham, and J.B. Priestley. So study all the remaining options also. But the correct option, the recipient of the Pulitzer Prize in 1920, is none other than Eugene O'Neill. Willie, in Arthur Miller's play Death of Salesman, is Willie Loman. I taught you this. A Loman who always wills high in the life is Willie Loman, the central character, the protagonist presented in Death of Salesman, written by Arthur Miller, compares Biff and Happy to the mythic characters, figures of which characters? The B option is correct one. Adonis and Hercules is the answer of this. So, this is somewhat difficult question to understand. We have to search the history of it. The next question here in this series. Why does Girish Karnad base his play Hayavadana on Thomas Mann's Transpose Head? And the very first option, which is the longest one in comparison to the remaining options, A, is the correct one. It is a mock heroic transcription of the original Sanskrit tales. Is the correct answer. Without wasting the time, let's proceed further towards the next slide here in this presentation. Which of the following is not a play by Badal Sarkar? The options are Bhuma, Evam Indrajit, that other history, and Agra Bazaar. The D option is correct one. Agra Bazaar is the answer. This is not a play written by Badal Sarkar. So now it becomes our duty to search Badal Sarkar and the works written by Badal Sarkar in detail. See the next question here in this series. Is this the dagger which I see before me? These words are said by whom? Hamlet, Macbeth, Richard II, and Henry IV. The answer is Macbeth. Is this the dagger which I see before me? And these are the words, probably in the dagger scene, which is very famous in Macbeth. Lady Macbeth afterwards says, all the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. She says this. And she became maniac after killing the king. Next question here in this series. Identify the play which is open to post-colonial reading. Macbeth, Henry IV, Part-4, The Tempest, and The Winter's Tale. The answer is The Tempest. Is the play which is open to post-colonial reading, The Tempest. So the next question here in this series. What is G.B. Shaw's play, Mrs. Warren's Profession, about? So is it about child labor, prostitution, contemporary politics, and science fantasy? The B option is correct here. This Mrs. Warren's Profession deals with prostitution. So, G.B. Shaw, as I told you, he received Nobel Prize in 1925 with anti-romantic dramatics, presented very mature themes in his drama and realistic themes. And what is the actual condition of the society? The war, tart, and prostitutes, and their problems, longings, and sufferings, and immoral behavior has been pinpointed by G.B. Shaw in his writing. Let's proceed further. Who is John Galsworthy? A man of property. 4 options are here, and D option is correct. Somes is the answer. A John Galsworthy, man of property. Let's proceed further. Joe is a character in Harold Pinter's which drama? The Caretaker, The Homecoming, The Room, The Dumb-waiter, and the answer is The Homecoming, which he published in 1965. So Joe appears in Harold Pinter's The Homecoming. Passions have been presented very beautifully in Harold Pinter's The Homecoming. The next question. Wedding Album is a play written by whom? This is the direct question. Wedding Album is written by Gyanpith award-winning writer, Kannada writer, bilingual writer who writes in English as well in Kannada language, is Girish Karnad. Girish Karnad. Remember this. So the next question. Which of the following can be best described as the first statement of George Bernard Shaw idea of life force? A play dealing with a woman's pursuit of her mate. And third, a play whose third act called Don Juan in Hell is both unconventional and hilarious. So what is the answer? Which is the play which describes the idea of the life force? And the answer is Man and Superman. Man and Superman is the answer. So we should know the background of the play also. The next question here. Widower's House was written by whom? So Widower's House is not written by Oscar Wilde or T.S. Eliot or John Galsworthy. The D option is correct. By George Bernard Shaw. Widower's House. And here the time has come to conclude this presentation and to stop this lecture series, my dear friends. I humbly express my thankful gratitude towards all dignitaries who availed me the opportunity to interact with the students directly through YouTube channel of BARTI Pune. Thank you very much for the honor. I humbly express my thankful gratitude towards the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra State, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of our state for initiating this project for the students of especially backward students who are struggling for quality. I express my thankful gratitude towards Honorable Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment of our state for forcing or initiating such initiative things for the students, which will prove truly helpful for the students in the study. BARTI offers the best knowledge to the students in an online platform, especially meant for the backward students from the rural area. So this platform is the best platform in the state. I again express my humble thanks for Honorable Sumant Bhange, Secretary of Social Justice and Empowerment, for initiating such novel programs for the student. BARTI offers training and online knowledge for UPSC aspirants also, as well MPSC aspirants also. And the student of literature who are struggling to clear the examination, NET and SET, this is the best platform. And I have been connected now to BARTI Pune. This is personally the great honor on my part, I feel. So thank you very much. Honorable Shri Sunil Vare Sahib, who is the present director of BARTI Pune. Respected Shrimati Snehal Bhosle Madam, HOD BARTI Pune, thank you very much for the opportunity. And my beloved friend, Advocate Rajiv Gandhi, the respected project officer of BARTI Pune, who has been always in touch with me throughout this lecture series, who guide me in the right direction, how to use the technology in the best way to avail this opportunity for the rural students. I feel deeply humbled. I feel exalted in my heart as I am a part and parcel of BARTI now, one of the reputed institute of government of Maharashtra. And lastly, you all students of BARTI Pune who are visualizing these videos, who will write the benefit of all these videos in English, I'm waiting for your feedback. Also remember, if there is any improvement, please suggest me. You have my email ID and mobile number with this video. So thank you very much, all these dignitaries. This is the best initiative for the student. And though I am working as a teacher here in College Pachaura in Maharashtra state, my dear friends, let me tell you very frankly, I am simple student of English language and literature. It is well said to follow knowledge like a sinking star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. Tennyson says this in Ulysses. We have to follow knowledge in the same way. Now the time has come to say you goodbye for this lecture series. I conclude with the lines, heights by the great man, rich and kept, were not attended by the sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling of verse in the night. So, my dear friends, remember there is no shortcut to success. As the Hindi poet well said, एक नन्ही चींटी दीवार पर चढ़ती है 100 बार फिसलती है आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं होती कोशिश करने वाले की कभी हार नहीं होती. So we are always with you, and this was the effort of BARTI. केवल हंगामा खड़ा करना हम लोगों का मकसद नहीं, हमारी कोशिश है कि सूरत बदलनी चाहिए. So thank you very much, BARTI. Thank you very much, my dear students. See you again after some time. Thank you very much. I stop this presentation. Jai Hind.